Ghost of Yotei, the sequel to the critically acclaimed fan favorite game Ghost of Tsushima, is set to release next month, but there are a number of factors that have led to calls to boycott the game and lead a concerted effort to practice cancel culture on the game, as well as the developer Sucker Punch Productions. The most recent is in reference to a particular employee at the company, character artist Drew Harrison, who commented on Blue Sky about the violent incident that took the life of Turning Points USA founder Charlie Kirk. She stated, quote, "I hope the shooter's name is Mario, so that Luigi knows his bro got his back," referring to Luigi Mangione, who was arrested on alleged suspicion of the homicide of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Sucker Punch had listened to people's concerns and have terminated her from the company, but despite that, gamers are still calling for a boycott of the game. While making such statements, especially right after tragedies like that take place, is insensitive and vile, it does call into question the supposed ideals of people like Charlie, who advocated for open discussion and for people not to be canceled for their speech. But this is only the latest in the laundry list targeting Ghost of Yotei. Many gaming influencers on YouTube and social media has attacked the game on a regular basis, ever since unveiling it officially at the Sony State of Play in September of 2024. The first clue came in that there is a new protagonist to the series, a female Ronin character by the name of Atsu. Some people were disappointed that they would not be able to reprise the role of Jin Sakai, despite the game taking place centuries later from what was established in Ghost of Tsushima. But it was not just about being a new character. There have been various media influencers and content creators over the past few years that have made complaints about the presence or portrayal of female protagonists in games compared to the past. This new trend of what's called girl boss is something else that has targeted the latest Assassin's Creed game, Shadows, which released back in March of this year. In the case of Shadows, it featured a black samurai who was a retainer of Oda Nobunaga, known as Yusuke, as well as a female ninja, Naoe, as the playable characters in that game. Yusuke was a real person referenced in Japanese history and appeared in previous games like Samurai Warriors 5, though his historical significance is disputed, while Naoe was a completely fictional character made especially for the game. The backlash of that game seems to have carried over to Yotei, considering the similar setting as well as playable female characters taking the lead role. The goodwill previously established from Ghost of Tsushima, as well as previous Sucker Punch titles like Infamous and Sly Cooper, compared to the blunders that Ubisoft has found themselves under in recent years, makes no difference to the haters. It has been a running gag in the game industry for a while about the hate of female lead characters, which I have made a previous video on. You can check the link on the description for that on YouTube. And that's not all. In addition to the previously mentioned controversies, there's also the ties to a consulting firm who specializes in providing script writing and narrative resources for video games, a company called Sweet Baby Inc. Sweet Baby Inc. has offered their services in assisting with scripts and narrative design in a number of titles such as God of War Ragnarok and Alan Wake, among others, but they have been the victims of cancel culture themselves. There has been a lot of anger targeted at this particular company, with critics calling them woke or divisive. The organization in general has been painted as an all-powerful boogeyman in the games industry, despite only serving in supplementary roles for game studios, having no ultimate authority for the direction of a game. They are a consulting firm after all, but that has not stopped grifters and trolls from spinning up some wild conspiracy theories, all hatched up from a Steam curator list called Sweet Baby Inc. Detected. Sadly, this horrific incident that ended the life of Charlie Kirk has led to the latest provocation of cancel culture from a side that happens to decry it when it happens to them, but are more than willing to participate in it themselves. It is ironic in a sense, given that he was all about the free exercise of debate and discussion, but the White Knights aren't so much, happily spinning narratives about the shooter, which turned out not to be based on reality. They couldn't resist to make assumptions about the political leanings of the suspect 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, who was apprehended after his father identified him based on photos shared by the FBI when they were investigating the shooting. Tyler had turned himself in after he was urged to by his father, and he is now in custody. Despite what certain grifters who use social media platforms to spin the narratives they want to spin, it turns out we still don't know much other than in fact he was raised by a conservative family. They will point to irrelevant information like living with a trans roommate or spread photoshopped images of him wearing a DSA shirt. But there is plenty that also points to connections to the Groyper movement and following neo-Nazis like Nick Fuentes. They will, of course, counter that with the bullet casings, one of them having an engraving saying, "Hey fascist, catch," trying to tie it in as an Antifa slogan, which again is a thinly veiled attempt at painting a narrative. And it also exposes they don't actually play the video games they claim to, or at least don't pay attention, because that quote is actually from the video game Helldivers 2, the casing itself etched with the stratagem code for the 500 kilogram Eagle Bomb. Of course, whatever his politics are, if he was conservative or liberal, is irrelevant. That is not what people should gather from this. The fact of the matter is, it takes a very mentally sick individual to carry out an act like this. Someone who had planned this for at least weeks, if not longer, and nobody was out there willing to help him with his problems. There were a lot of conflicting reports from people who knew him about his actual ideology, but they all agreed he was too connected to the internet and disconnected from reality. And that is the real takeaway here. That disconnect all ties into explaining why there is a lot of hate right now for Ghosts of Yotei. But these online grifters and trolls do not represent reality. The normies out there, people that talk about video games because they enjoy them, they look forward to them, they want to use them as an escape from the harsh realities we see out there every day, they are who matter in this conversation. The calls to boycott the game have nothing to do with the game itself. It has nothing to do with the quality of the game. It has nothing to do with the gameplay. It has nothing to do with the corporations. Heck, it really isn't even tangentially related to the game at all. It is all about people who are disconnected from reality and have lost grasp on it, and they feel like the mainstreaming of video game subculture is an attack on them, but it is not. It is just that people are coming around and making the tent bigger. Games like Ghosts of Yotei are meant for people to have fun, people who want to live out their feudal Japan dreams or be a badass girl boss or whatever. And I'm sure Chuck would be cool with that. And that's going to be the last line.